So welcome all of you. Now today some arrangement is different because wife is not well. So she has recorded the translation and sang the prayer song from down. She cannot come up because of some leg injury. Now see this Bhagavad Gita very week Saturday when we start we will discuss something about the preciousness glory of Bhagavad Gita. Then we will continue. We will summarize briefly the previous class. Then we will take up few more slokas. That way we will proceed. So, see, our speciality of our Indian culture is Vedic culture. Recording started. So, Vedic culture means associated with religious culture. So that is what Vedic culture. Indian culture is associated with religious culture. So the religious culture is centered on God, the principle of God. So perception of God from different religion and also from religious subsects and everything is different, but God is the center of the religious culture. So God should be associated in each and every aspect of life. That is what God-centered culture. It is there in Indian culture in various forms, various worships, and in various stages of one's life. Starting from Namakaranam onwards, we invoke God. So God is associated in one or other way throughout one's life. So Indian culture is God-centered culture. So to keep it alive, we should have association with God as a fundamental thing. Then only it will remain, and it will. We will see how it helps. So to keep it in daily life, morning itself, we should not begin the day with bed coffee or bed tea. With remembrance of God in any form, no problem. Because form helps us to concentrate and focus. So, as a religious person, everyone uses form only. So, you can have Ishta Devada, or you can have one day, as per the day's importance, also you can invoke God and start the day. So, this will help throughout the day that there is some backing for you, support for you, if you inculcate this. Otherwise, Swamiji was telling, there won't be a direction either during the middle age or in the upper middle age or old age. So for direction throughout your life, you should need the support, the solid support, that God is the most solid, unshakable support. So if you keep God as your support, the life will be better than otherwise. Because we have already seen the praying God will help in many ways in our Vedanta simplified class. So God's grace, tapping also we have discussed how to tap the God grace to be in line with Dharma and everything. And also praying God is also, that is all powerful God, all pervading God. Though God as a God of form is all powerful and all pervading. So he is in and out of us. So when God is inside us and he is all powerful, we will get the strength to withstand the fluctuations which is happening around us. Here, Bhagavad Gita is the most useful work, not work, Smriti. It is, we cannot call it work, it is Bhagavan's thing, so Smriti, and it is the essence of Upanishads. So, and it is available in many interpretations and everything. One of the most popular text, and Bhagavad Gita brings to one life and maintains, that is religious life, God-centered life, and also it takes you to spiritual upliftment, all in one. Worldly life, then materialistic life, moral, legitimate, religious life, and also spiritual upliftment, which only Upanishads and Vedas can give. So Bhagavad Gita is all in one, we told. So this is the way Bhagavad Gita helps us to keep God in our life. But what is the proof, if you ask? Why we have to bring God? I have told you some small statements, that direction and for support and everything. But there is one very obvious proof, because this body, mind, intellect, we are the trustees, or we are the tenant. We have taken from God. What is the proof again? 3 times minimum in a day we are getting reminded of it. 3 times in a day means minimum. Once in 4-5 hours, stomach needs something. From where that hunger comes? Vaishvanara or Jadaragni. That is the reminder that this is the owner of the property is God, we are the tenant. Not only we have to pay 3 times a day the rent, we have to take care of the maintenance also. That is the rule, agreement. So, but taking care of the maintenance, Bhagavad Gita, again the scripture all in one. So this introduction, we can just remember it, then we will go ahead by summarizing some aspects of the previous classes, then we will take up few more slokas. So context was there, Arjuna's collapse, then Bhagavan whips him with his tongue, Arjuna, and tells, get up and do what is to be done. This is not the way to show unmanliness. So this is supported by Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Uttishtada, Jagrada, Prapyavara, Prabodhada, Kshurasya Dara, Nihida Duratteya, Durgam Padastat, Kavayo Vadanti. So in Katha Upanishad also, dialogue between the Lord of Death and Nachiketas, when Lord of Death, Yama, teaches self-knowledge. This knowledge, if you want to means start and progress, you have to wake up. That's what Bhagavan is also waking up Arjuna. This is also supported by Upanishad. And in this Katha Upanishad mantra, it is said, this path is like the edge of the sword. That's what our rishis have made us understand. And we have to go through that to get the best of everything in life, and the ultimate benefit is self-knowledge. So the initial, last week also we saw, initially it will be difficult. So the same thing is supported by Katha Upanishad also. Then we saw Arjuna was slightly better, but he was telling about Karpanya dosha, that is wasting the life. So if one does not come into this knowledge, it is equal to wastage of life. Miser wastes is body, mind, intellect, and also, miser waste is property and wealth, not useful to himself and to others. Similarly, if we don't make use of our body, mind, intellect, we are doing a blunder. That is what Kena Upanishad says, Ihachet avedi tatatasya masti nacheti havedi Mahadi Vinashtihi. So that is also Upanishad support. So this is one. Then we saw a part of Bhagavan's teaching, that is Asavasyan, that is 11th verse. There the chain of reasons, causes, that is what is the cause for Arjuna's sorrow? It was because of death. Death is related to body, body is related to individuality, the you or I notion. So Bhagavan is not doing any relative remedy. He wants to give the absolute remedy by way of teaching Bhagavad Gita. Then we saw about the requirement of mind. Mane eva manushyana karanam bandha mokshayo. That is what one sentence last week I want to tell. So this one, similar to that 5th sloka and 6th sloka of 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we saw, with mind only you have to uplift yourself. With mind only people abuse and go down. Then we saw the focusing of mind and also the preciousness of this knowledge. That is this pursuit, that if you proceed in this pursuit, it will save you from a very great risk. Now we will start some new slokas. That is, first sloka is 16th chapter, 23rd verse. We will try to play it, and along with my wife's also translation is recorded. And let us start.
यशास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखं न परं गतिम्.
Chapter 16, verse 23. The one who, being impelled by binding desire, engages oneself casting away the injunctions of the Shastra, gains neither maturity nor happiness here, much less a higher end.
See, here we have been, most of our students will know, that is when the scriptures have to be referred, when other source of knowledge through books and through internet and so many online classes you have to refer. For materialistic prosperity, we have to learn so many subjects, refer internet, refer books, college study, up to PhD. All these things are fine. But the thing which science cannot give, something else is giving, means you have to be smart enough, intelligent enough to grab it. So that only and only scriptures can give. So that's what it is there in MMT. Whatever materialistic knowledge you get from the sources, normal sources through education and internet and everything, and something it cannot give, that is the reality of yourself and also the relative reality of the universe. This science cannot give. So that is possible only, that is available only in scriptures. This is a very important thing. So if you want to have wholesome knowledge, you have to refer scriptures, and that can give what science cannot give. But if you don't refer scriptures and follow, you are losing a big portion of the knowledge. And those who are doing like that, they cannot get the ultimate satisfaction, peace, security and happiness while living, and also after death. Means that is, those who have not completed the pursuit, they have to have rebirth. So in next birth also you may not be able to get a better body or a better life. So, na siddhim avapnoti, na sugam, na parangadim. So, in this life also, in the next life also, you cannot get. That is the reason you have to refer to scriptures. Next sloka is 5th chapter. Huh? Yeah, you can switch on. Let us see.
Yehi samsparshja bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate adyam tavantak kaunteya nate suramate buddhaha.
Chapter 5, verse 22. Because those enjoyments that are born of contact between the sense organs and desirable objects are the sources of pain alone and have a beginning and an end. Kaunteya, Arjuna, the wise person does not revel in them.
Now, this is in 5th chapter 22 verse. See, this tells about the sense gratification things. So, here, legitimate things, what is prescribed by Shastras, it is reflected in the common sense also. So, that you can do, but knowing the consequence. Because in the Vedanta Simplified class we have discussed this sense gratifications. Whatever satisfies the sense, they have got a beginning and the end. Because for sense gratification, you have to work, you have to put effort. You may get or you may not get the expected result, but you have to put effort taking the pain. Then, once you get it, then for maintaining it, you have to put effort. And also, you know, there is a law of diminishing factor that will set in. So, either you have to increase if you have to increase the happiness, you have to accordingly go for better and better things in the world. That you know already, there is no end for that. And along with that, you will have the fear of losing it. So, this is what is highlighted here. Every sense gratification have got a beginning and the end. But wise people will not fall prey to this kind of sense gratification. But legitimate sense pleasures, you can use it as per the injection of the scriptures. There is no problem. But knowingly, you can use it. But unknowingly, you should not fall prey to that and get carried away. That is what this sloka. Next one we'll see.
Manhi parthavyapasritya etisyopapayenayah striyo vaisyat tatha sudraha tepi yanti parangatim.
Chapter 9, verse 32. Indeed, Partha, that is Arjuna, even those who are born in families given to improper conduct, and so too women, Vaishyas and Shudras, taking refuge in me, they also gain the ultimate end.
So here, beautiful thing is that this knowledge is not restricted to any caste or any creed or any subsect. A thinking person can get it. That is the beauty of this. It is clearly told in this sloka, 9th chapter 32, verse number 32, that even a person who had gone astray, means what? Had developed some habits which is not legitimate. Once the person understands and changes, amends his or her ways, it is possible to come in line and progress, and whatever the benefits the top class religious people get, same thing a person who has gone to the habits and everything, provided he corrects using the mind, using the scriptures and changes his habit, he can get it. And also it is not bound for any gender. Both genders can get it. They are all the proof which is available in Upanishads. In Brihadaranya Upanishad, the great scholar Yakivalkya is wants to leave all his vast property and go to a forest and abide in the self. Then he wants to bifurcate his properties to his two wives. Then what happened? One of his wife, he told, when you are going to forest and abide in yourself, that should be more precious than all this wealth. So I also want that one, not this property. Why I am telling this is not bound for any gender. And in Yakivalkya's life story, one more female scholar comes, Gargi. So these are all common for both the gender. No gender bifurcation or no caste creed bifurcation. This is the very, very important proof from Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter. Next one.
ज्ञानेन सदृशम् पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्त्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेन मनि विन्दते श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानम् तत्परसंयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
Chapter 4, verse 38. In this world, there is indeed no purifier equivalent to knowledge. One who has in time attained preparedness through Karma Yoga naturally gains knowledge in the mind. Chapter 4, verse 39. One who has faith in the Shastra and in the words of the teacher, who is committed to that knowledge and who is master of one's sense, gains the knowledge. Having gained the knowledge,
There is some disconnection problem. Wait.
immediately gains absolute peace.
Now in 4th chapter, verse 38 and 39 is giving a small contradiction, seemingly contradiction in the progress of this subject through learning. 38 says it may take some time. It could take some time. But verse 39 says it can happen immediately. It may not take time. So this is we have to reconcile. What is the reason? Here only the commentary and discussion, so many things help us. Because Bhagavan, when he says there should be definitely there will be a truth, there's a truth only, then it will never mislead. That is what the guarantee given by Vedas and Upanishads. It is mother and grandmother told you. So we have to go deeper into it and understand the correct meaning, what it says. That's why Brahma Sutra and everything is there, to analyze the Upanishads and to get the correct meaning, which is good for us and which gives benefits, which is the truth. Here 38 says it could take time, means what? In the preparatory procedures. Because if the person is not at all prepared, he will take long time, very long time. We have already seen what are the preparation: discrimination, dispassion, discipline, and desire for liberation. So in the discipline already there, that is mind control, body control, then concentration, means concentration upon maintaining after controlling the senses, then tolerance, then Shraddha. We can have Shraddha as hope also, the modern language. That when you come to this subject, you should have hope of getting the benefits and also getting free from all these problems of samsara means struggles. So that hope. Then very strong urge in the freedom. That is moksha says it, freedom. Means free from all kinds of psychological problem, means fear, anxiety, fear of future, fear of death, fear of old age, all the things. So this D, 4 Ds, discrimination, dispassion, disciplines and desire should be there. So this may take time. So Bhagavad Gita comes into picture in all these aspects, in preparation also. That's why Bhagavad Gita is wholesome. Karma Yoga is one thing where we can utilize our likes and dislikes, and that is possible, means in a proper way in family life also, in legitimate materialistic life also. There only the opportunity of sacrifice is there, that is Panchamaha, that is for contributing to the five great sacrifices there. So that is possible. So that is there in Bhagavad Gita. So this preparatory procedure may take time. That is why the verse number 38 says it may take time. But 39 says it can happen at any time also. For a prepared person, this knowledge may not take time because this is the knowledge about yourself. So we usually give the example, no? For finding something in a room, the room is dark. We may require a torch. But for finding the glowing bulb, nobody will use torch. But what is required to locate the glowing bulb? Two things. One is intention and eyesight. So intention is preparation, eyesight is the Shastra, scriptures. So like that, it may take time also, or if the preparation is very good and systematic and everything, then this knowledge can happen quickly also. So that is the incentive. So many people say it may take birth after birth after birth after birth, it may take throughout our life. So you should not get disappointed. That is why this sloka says both, it can happen quickly also. The next one.
ज्ञानाम् सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानाम् कश्चिन्माम् वेत्ति तत्त्वतः.
Chapter 7, verse 3. Among thousands of people, a rare person makes effort for moksha. Even among those seekers making effort, only a rare person comes to know me in reality.
This one is told in a symbolic way. Manushyana Sahasreshu, 7th chapter, 3rd sloka. It is not that 1,000, 1 in 1,000. Just like an expression is there in English, 1 in million. So it is very rare that people get interest. Among rare people also, few will understand. Among few people understand, then benefit will be a few. So this sloka has to be combined with the previous two slokas. So there is a hope that fourth chapter, 39 sloka, Bhagavan is telling, if the preparation is good, it can happen fast also. So this sloka should not demotivate you. That is why these three slokas are clubbed together near to you. So this sloka tells only the preciousness, and first we saw in Katha Upanishad, no? Shurasya Dara. The path is like walking on the edge of the sword. So these are all, that is why one statement is totally supported by another statement of Upanishad Bhagavad Gita, all are interconnected. But when you take this sloka, you have to take it in a spirit that it can happen fast also. So next sloka.
एवम् प्रवर्तितम् चक्रम् नानुवर्तयते हयः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामः मोघम् पार्थ स जीवति.
Chapter 3, verse 16. A person who does not follow here in this life, this cosmic wheel that is already set in motion, in this manner, and lives in sin given only to the pleasure of the senses, lives wastefully, Partha, that is Arjuna.
See here, this is in line with the Kenopanishad Vakya. Ihachet Avedi, we saw. One person who uses his knowledge, the person uplifts and he can pick up the thread, he or she, and progress life after life. If the person does not come to know the truth in this part. But if the person doesn't use, is wasting. So again, this is also supporting the Veda Vakya, Upanishad Vakya. So here this is actually the sloka number, just see,
326.
third chapter, 26 sloka. Here, see, example is a wheel. The wheel is set in motion by the Lord. We should not stop the wheel. That is what legitimate life. Evam pravardidam chakram means that wheel is in motion. Each person is a cog, that is in the wheel. So you have to go in line with the dharmic life. You should not go adharmic. You should not follow the adharmic life. You should be in motion with the normal life. But if you want to get rid of all the problems and everything, not only you should be following the dharmic life, you have to go further spiritual life by following the paths shown by Upanishads, the pursuit of self-knowledge. So you have to be in line with the worldly life. This is another proof that Bhagavan is okaying, means approving the legitimate worldly life. So next one is
नभद्विभेदम् जनयेत् अज्ञानाम् कर्मसङ्गिनाम् जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्.
Chapter 3, verse 26. The one who knows, the Atman, should not create any disturbance in the understanding of the ignorant who are attached to the results of action. The wise person, steadfast in the knowledge, himself performing all the actions well, should encourage the ignorant into performing all actions.
here another advice given by Bhagavan is that, okay, I am in this pursuit, I will pull everyone in this pursuit. It is not required. Those who are doing dharmic, those who are following dharma and leading a dharmic life, even if they do the work for their benefits, legitimate benefits, you should not stop, you should not force them. That is why here also we can recollect the sloka number 7, when Arjuna surrendered, that I want permanent relief from this confusion. Then only Bhagavan starts teaching. So here, the normal materialistic people, those who are following materialistic life, but legitimate, you should not force them, and you should not deviate their life, because that is also required. In this 4 ashrama, that is brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa, the materialistic people, means those are following the dharma and doing, they take care of the other 3 sections. This kind of varna ashrama may not be 100% suitable to now modern life, but still the family life, the legitimate business and everything, all these things are advocated and also recommended, so that these people can take care of all other three sections. So that is very important thing, that all is also told in 1 in million only, so that is supported by here also. Other people should not be forced to come to this knowledge. Those who are interested only, we have to teach it. Next.
युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः.
Chapter 6, verse 17. For one who is moderate in eating and other activities, who is mindful in all activities, and to one's sleeping and waking hours, for such a person, meditation becomes the destroyer of sorrow.
See, here even the daily routine is covered in Bhagavad Gita. In 6th chapter, 17th verse, Yukta Ahara Viharasya. Moderation. Moderation in all the things. In all the different activities. Means even if you are not well, fasting is not required. That's what Bhagavan is there in the stomach, already told. There is Vaishvanara. So, we should not be crazy after religious practices and spoiling the body. So, moderation in food, neither more nor less. And also activities. Activities, Karma Yoga will see, that is attitude behind the activities. And even this one, that is sleeping and waking. Both are covered by Bhagavad Gita, this sloka. Actually, this word says Swapna, but it is sleep. That is, sleep should never be more nor be less. It depends upon the constitution of your body. So, usually 7 to 8 hours, but that should be moderate. And the waking period also moderate. So, this one is very important from the point of the routine, which is covered by the 17th sloka of 6th chapter. Yeah, next one.
आयुस्सत्त्वबलारोग्य सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्याः स्निग्धाः स्थिरा हृद्याः आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः.
Chapter 17, verse 8. Succulent, creamy, fortifying and pleasing foods which increase longevity, mental clarity, strength, health, pleasure in taste and aesthetic pleasure are loved by Sattvika people.
See, Sattvika food should be increased so that the mind purification will be easier. So here, this small thing for day-to-day life, it is a small thing for many people. But this is also covered in Bhagavad Gita, means how much important this is. That is what we understood. The food, not only for our body's thing, for mind development also, and transformation also, for understanding the subtle aspect of our scriptures also, mind is very important. That is influenced by the type of food. Sattvic food, that is Ahiku Sattva Bala Arogya, Sukha Priti Vivardhana, means for longevity, mental clarity, development, transformation, and also because Bala means the strength of the body. And from the point of food, Rasyaha, Snigdaha, Siraha, Hridyaha, means fresh, juicy, then creamy or smooth foods, and Stiraha, that is stable, not old. Then Hridyaha, pleasing, aesthetic importance also there, and pleasing to taste also. So this is Sattvic food. This you have to increase for understanding the subtle subject of self-knowledge, and also for all the aspects of your other life also. Otherwise what happens? See, initially, the next sloka will tell, I will not tell now. So, the previous sloka says moderation in food. So, then the quality of food here. Moderation, some people are there, they live to eat. No, that is not. We should eat for living. So, that is what moderation. Here, what kind of quality food? Three types Bhagavan is telling. Sattvic food, then Rajasic food, then Tamasic food. Next will come the aspects of Rajasic food. So that is what most junk food and everything is there. And Bhagavan will tell the consequence that we can see. The 9th sloka of 17th chapter.
कट्वं ललवणात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरूक्षविदाहिनः आहारा राजसस्येष्ट दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः.
Chapter 17, verse 9. Foods which are very bitter, sour, salty, hot, pungent, astringent, and burning that gives pain, sorrow, and ill health are highly desired by Rajasika people.
Actually understandable, but the importance is that, see, in Bhagavad Gita, when you listen, it is not too much, you cannot take support from logic and science. Here, faith, even belief also is okay here, because you have to believe God's words and faith, trust. So, this aspect of food is covered in 3 slokas in 17th chapter. This is the Rajasic qualities will increase, and this will lead to Dukkha Shogamaya, means ill health, sorrow and pain. What kind of food? All this list of food. Katva, Amla means bitter, too much bitter, too much sour, and then too much salty, roasted, burnt food, pungent food, astringent food. All these food are, junk food. So these foods will tempt you and will make you addict. But what will happen in not only at the end, when you progress to 40s, 50s, all kinds of problem comes. So this habit of going to this means getting fall to the prey for junk food and everything. If you want to stop, this is the best means advice. That is when you start listening Bhagavad Gita, we have told you. That is whatever is best for you, pick up from Bhagavad Gita. About the food also, this much is told, and each can be explained also too much, but all you know. But the only thing is that when you give, you know the value, but you will know the value of value only if you implement. So that is what about the Rajasic food. Next is Tamasic food, old food and everything.
स्वामङ्गतरसम् पूतिपर्युषितम् च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि कामेभ्यम् भोजनम् तामसप्रियम्.
Chapter 17, verse 10. Food which is stale or inadequately cooked, from which the essence has gone, which is putrid, overnight, refuse, and also unfit as an offering, is beloved to a Tamasika person.
Here, see, this in the present circumstances you cannot avoid. Minimize as minimum as possible. Use the fridge for storing the cooked food. See, 100% either follow or 100% not follow will not be the rule. Then you cannot achieve anything. That's why perfection can be in your mind, but do the best and proceed. So here, old food. That is told that see, when you cut the food and cook everything, 3 hours. Yeah, the yam I'm telling. Otherwise, you don't extend to the previous day's food, 2 days old, and also this canned food and everything, and also putrid smelling food. Then which you cannot offer, that you cannot eat also. So in the commentary, I understand offering to God. Whichever food you feel that you cannot offer to God, you don't take. So offering to God is a very good habit. So it will keep you in taking importance to the quality of food also. So that's what God is in every aspect of Indian Vedic culture life. This is also an example. So regarding the food, if you want to follow, you use these three slogas, go into the commentaries, you will try to circulate and improve the quality of food that you take.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः.
Chapter 3, verse 35. Better is one's own imperfectly performed dharma than the well-performed dharma of another. Death in one's own dharma is better. The dharma of another is fraught with fear.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Chapter 18, verse 47. One's own duty, devoid of merit, is better than the duty of another. Well done. Doing action enjoined according to one's nature, one does not gain any blemish.
How the slogas are connected, you see. 3rd chapter 35, then 18th chapter 47. First line of the verse is same. So much important things are discussed about duty. Now, see what is duty? It's a somewhat elaborate subject. So, here one definition was there in the home study. Now, Puji Swami says, a situation expects a response from you. A situation. So, positively responding to that situation is your duty. This is one of the very simplest definition. You see, either in the house or in the office or take society or take the nation. Whether others follow or not, that is not the question. It is about your own interest and your involvement in the spiritual studies and also to improve your life. So the question of telling that others are not doing should not be brought. So here Bhagavan is telling in 2 slogas, taking up others' job, leaving your duty is dangerous. Very dangerous. He is telling that it's like taking the death. So why it is so much powerful indicated like this means, what will happen if you take others' jobs? See, now even if the Varna Ashrama Dharma is not there, we have got some duties. But if you try to fix your progress in life as per the income, you know what all terrific things are happening nowadays. They are trapped. So that is the way you have to take this sloga. Your choosing the job should match your liking and also take care of your life. Not totally income based. So in search of that kind of thing, you have to have in your mind your duties and your search for your income. So leaving your duty means what? Everyone leaves their duty means what? The demands will only increase and asking the rights will increase and chaos will be there. But in a family, Just see, if everyone does their duty, their demands will be automatically fulfilled. It's a beautiful thing also this. So this teaching is very apt for a family, for the team, for a company, for a group of people also. They work together. So every members, if they perform their duty, all members' rights will be automatically fulfilled. They need not demand it. This is very apt one, and with this we can means we will have some one story. How then if the time permits.
Yeah, go ahead. Time is 8:52.
See, these are all the things which you can try to implement and also stick to this only in the your age of 30s, 40s. If you start from 20s, it's wonderful. But if you don't start in time, it is very difficult to change your life in 60s and 70s. If you start in 40s, 50s, at least you can maintain it and you can progress it. So, we used to share one story that there was a kingdom. In that kingdom, the qualification for selecting the king is there, but there is one peculiar rule was there. So, after selecting the people, those who qualify to be a king, this condition is the very peculiar condition that a person can remain only for 5 years term. After the last day of the 5th year, the king will be ceremoniously taken in a ship or boat. There was a river, and will be left on the other side of the river, which is a forest. So this was the rule. So only few people will try to become a king among the qualified people. So this was a rule in that kingdom. 5 years he can rule, he can have all the facilities of the king, but the last day of the 5th year, he will be sent to the forest. So what happened? This was going on, and many people, you know what will happen. First year they will have all enjoyment along with the others in the kingdom and everything. Then second year they can continue the king can continue the enjoyment. But third year onwards, the king will be counting the number of years. Then counting the number of years will reduce to number of months. Then number of weeks. Then the final year will come. The king will lose his mental peace. Then depression. Finally, he will be taken and thrown in the forest through the boat crossing the river. This was going on, and once it so happened that they selected the king. He was ruling nicely, first of all, and the kingdom also improved. Second year, third year, he was improving. Along with improving the kingdom, it continued fourth year also, and there was no change in the mood or happiness level of the king. So all people were thinking, we have been seeing this, whoever becomes king, the 5th year the king's mindset, mood will not be as cheerful, as happy as the initial stage, but there was no change in this particular king's attitude. He was only interested in development, and also he was also happy and everything. The 5th year also was like that, and every month also there was no change in the mindset of the king. last month came, 5th year, last month, last week. Then the last day. So thinking what he did, he told bye-bye and he accepted the farewell with cheerful mood. All were totally surprised. Then he was taken in the boat, at the time also okay. But when they crossed the river, they found on the other side there was no jungle, no forest. It was a beautiful palace, everything. So that is the story we share for spiritual progress. What this king did, he understood this rule. He has to follow. So from the very first day or first week or first month, he started the project of developing the other side without the knowledge of the many of the people. He made a tunnel from his kingdom to the other side of the river and developing the other side area not near the river so that people will not know. He started developing from the opposite side and it was developing and this banks of the river with some forest like thing became a beautiful natural scenery. But what we are learning that he understood the rule and made use of his life for the betterment of himself, for his happy living in his ages ahead, and also he did good to the people. Same thing in self-knowledge also. Start at the earliest. So many different advice are given. Can be happen fast, it can take time. But if it takes time also, don't bother. You can pick up the thread from other. Next life. It is good for you, it is good for your family, good for others. It is not at the cost of you. Win-win situation. So this story is a very simple story, but what we have to learn is, you start the pursuit, various same knowledge, but we first shared the Vedanta simplified for productive happy life. Then within that also, I am not the body, I am not the mind. So many reasons. Then we have got one more step, that is side step method, awareness. Introducing yourself to yourself in the most appropriate way. Now, Bhagavad Gita. So all these things are for making use of your life to the best possible way. And here, if we stop, we can have some question interaction so that we can finish it by 9:09. So now we will end the session with a prayer. Then we can have any kind of question and about any possible improvement about our system of sharing this glorious, precious Bhagavan's teaching of Bhagavad Gita. We'll end the session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.